Okay, let's just check. Is that working? Yeah. Oh, 1 second. Okay. Okay. It looks like everything's working. Nice. Okay, so how is everyone doing? Yeah, it's number two, as you can see. Dec English live. Choo! Okay. I wonder how many we'll get to by the end of the year. Could be quite interesting. What do you think? Maybe 300, 200? Is 300 too ambitious? Maybe. A reason. Okay, let's say 100. I'm saying this live now on um, the 25th of March 2026. 100 YouTube lives by the end of the year. I think that's possible. We'll see though. Who knows? Who knows? Okay, well, anyway, welcome to number two. Okay, now today is a little bit shorter. Only going to do 15 minutes today. Yeah, just a little one. And we'll see if anyone comes to say hello. And if not, then absolutely feel free to, watch later at your own convenience. So yeah, a bit early, but let's see how it goes. All right. Well, today, it started off a little bit cloudy, but pretty reasonable. You know, nothing too much to complain about. Still, no overly large complaints to be discussed, but a very wet day. It could almost be a typical English spring day in a way. In England, you get three types of weather usually. I mean, of course, there's variants, but typical would be like a sunny, blue skies, beautiful day. You know, especially if you're in the countryside, you hear the sheep meh, the sheep bleating. Maybe you can see the clouds moving above you. If you're in the city, everything just feels good and happy. And then number two, you could get like a cloudy but decent day, weather-wise. And then number three, a wet day, just like today. However, I'm pretty sure in March, especially in my hometown, the weather, if it was like this, it would be cooler, a lot cooler. I mean, I'm sat now, I'm wearing a sweater, and I've just got a t-shirt and an undershirt on underneath, and some jeans. But, I'm comfortable. If anything, I'm a little on the warmer side. However, would I be comfortable wearing this if I was in England? Debatable. Who knows? Who knows? But anyway, I was going to go for a run today, but I decided not to, simply because of the weather. And then I thought, you know, you're supposed to be exercising your deck to myself, inner voice, inner voice. I said, Deck, you're supposed to be exercising. You're supposed to be keeping healthy. These days I'm not doing so much physical work. I spend a lot of time in this chair. Oh yes. And it's really good to keep momentum of moving the body and staying healthy. So of course we can eat healthy. We can try and think positive. Really great for mental health. But something that does get overlooked is adequate exercise and steps. Something as simple as taking a walk around the neighborhood. Perfect, great, easy exercise. And I do that most days. I do try to get out every day. But, I also try to go for a run, pretty much every day. However, I won't lie to you. Recently, because I had the issue with my wrist, I don't know if anyone listened to the earlier episodes of the podcast, but I actually had tendonitis, you know, and I'll show you on this one. Wait, this one's my wrist is still swollen, so I'll show you on here. Now this bit here, it's like essentially there's like the thing, the tendon. It's like a strip. It's like it looks kind of like a piece of string, essentially. Anyway, it became inflamed. It got very uncomfortable. It wasn't life-threatening, but it was not fun to work with. It wasn't fun to live with. So I had a very, very, very minor operation on it. He literally just um, close your ears and cover your ears and close your eyes if you're squeamish. But basically, really good doctor. He just quickly cut it open. There's like a cover under the skin. And oh, who's that? I don't recognize that number. Okay, I'll call them back. That's okay. Anyway, cover under the skin, and he literally just opened it up and reset the tendons essentially. So luckily, that has seemed to have fixed my issue. But that was about 2 months ago now. And for those 2 months, my level of exercise has really dropped. You know, I'm trying to do running, trying to do this, trying to do that. But it's not always easy. You know, at first I was worried about injuring this more. If I do that still, I can feel it, you know, it's painful. Anyway. So I've been trying to get back into it, slowly, increasing distance again, slowly increasing workout routines. Oh my gosh, mate, I've not had enough coffee today. slowly, reintroducing workout routines. You know, don't want to go too much too soon. Anyway, and then as of today, I was like, I'm going to do a big run today. I say big, I mean fairly small compared to what I used to do, but you know, reasonable distance. And it started raining, and I was like, I could go, but no. What I will do, I decided to do a pretty intense workout at home. And when I say workout, I mean stretch. You know, stretch, basic core, etc. And it kind of hurt. Actually, it was definitely, you know, a bit of a shock at how much that hurt. So definitely do need to be careful, take it relatively easy. Yeah. But, you know, got marathons to run this year, got plans to keep and, and promises to maintain. So, yeah, hopefully no issues there. Now, that kind of brings me to what I wanted to quickly talk about today. Now, I mentioned earlier about my inner voice. You know, I was saying, hey, Dec, you need to do this. You need to maintain your exercise. You need to keep up with the exercise. And, you know, inner voice is so important. You know, I'm sure you use it, like whether it's in English, whether it's in French, Spanish, Portuguese, German, whatever, Japanese. And inner voice is like your best friend, your companion, could be your enemy, you know. But you know, generally speaking, inner voice is really important, and especially so when it comes to language learning. Why? Well, maybe you've heard about this, but you know, trying to think in your target language. People will say, "Oh, it's you think in your target language." And it will help you to no end. You help you know it. And that's true. It's definitely true. You know, you learn some grammar, you try to use it. You can't speak to someone, so you speak to yourself. Definitely true. But you know, we sometimes put too much pressure on this. You know, I'm not thinking in my case, Japanese. I'm not thinking in German. I'm not thinking in English. You know, whatever you're learning. And that is an issue in my mind, because then you get this negative inner voice coming along. You get this negative attitude. Now, I'm not saying positivity solves everything. It does not. Positivity and motivation. Positivity, motivation, and consistency. There's a lot of things to add to that list. But, little by little. For example, I started doing this years ago when I started learning Japanese, and I still do it to this day. My shopping lists are all in Japanese. Why? Well, it helps with my reading. It helps with when I was first learning. It helped with spelling, retention, word retention, and of course, when I'm going around the supermarket, where is this? Where is that? I'm looking for it in that language, and I still do that today. Do I need to at this point? No. Is it a habit I've maintained and I'm happy to maintain? Yes. So shopping is a great opportunity to use your inner voice. And when you pick up ingredient 1 and ingredient 2, and you think, well, hey, what could I make with these? But do it in your target language. And that's a really stress-free way to do it. Shopping. Another one, let's say you're walking around town on your commute. Let's say on your commute. Now, be careful, of course, if you're crossing the road or having to get onto the bus or on the train, be aware of your surroundings. But if you're commuting to school, to work, try to just assess the world in your target language. If you're beginning to learn, oh, it's a green tree. Oh, it's a big red car. Oh, blah, blah, blah. It's a big, tall person. I don't know. Just simple is fine. But if you are, trying to use specific adjectives, specific nouns, specific grammar points, or just want to use an extensive amount of vocabulary, that person, he looks like he's going to a bank. At the bank, I bet you he is going to blah, 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 So you make a story. And it could be about a thing, a person, anything, You can also think, well, I saw this on the news. And then you try to recount the story you saw on the news or read on the news in your target language. That is also an amazing thing. And use your inner voice to assess the situation. And speaking to oneself. Now, in the past, like a long time ago, people might have said, oh, he's crazy, she's balmy. Why? You know why? Because they didn't understand. It's normal to talk to ourselves. Of course, take this with a pinch of salt, and there's no denying that there is a line, if your voice is telling you to do certain things, it's probably a different type of inner voice. But for language learning, inner voice, inner monologue, let's call it, is absolutely crucial. And I think a lot of credit is given to this, but not enough, in my opinion. And like I said, if you do it with the little things, like making a shopping list, like commuting, like when you're walking around town, for example, if you're doing your exercise, it doesn't have to be about the exercise, but whatever you're thinking about. Make a story in your head. When you're in the shower, oh, and then today I went down to the supermarket and then I did blah, blah, blah. Pretty good. It's a great way to sort of practice using your inner voice. And it really helped me. And I know a bunch of people personally who've said the same thing when they were learning their target language, whether it's, like I say, whether it's English, whether it's Japanese, or anything in between. So, yeah, inner voice, inner voice, inner voice. Let's use it. And also, if you do use it, let people know. Let me know. And let me know how it went for you. Because if you have a positive outcome from this, I would love to hear it. And I'd love for you to share it if you don't mind. And that kind of brings me to my next point today, just before we finish today. You know, it's very easy if you are not immediately surrounded by your target language, by English. If you're not surrounded by English, it's very easy to fall into the trap of sort of focusing on study, but nothing else, And for example, let's say you finish this book, you're doing this book, you're watching this video, you're listening to this music, you're listening to that podcast, but you're not speaking, you're not using this thing here. And this thing here is crucial. Why? Well, for example, if you're reading, now you're reading a book, and I'm pretty sure we can read a few words in English. If we can't, keep practicing, you'll get there. But let's say I read this word. I didn't say anything. So that means I didn't practice using my mouth, using my tongue, my vocal cords, like that. But if I say, Dec English live number 2, I'm using my mouth. I'm using the necessary equipment to practice speaking. Now that's important because it helps us memorize and the sound, not just the words, but the sounds of the words as well. And this is something I tell people in my classes all the time. If you're reading, that's fantastic, really good, really, really great. But remember to not simply read, You're practicing the reading, sure, in your mind, but getting it from your mind to your mouth, well, that's another whole different ballgame, whole different kettle of fish. So we need to practice this, and practice makes perfect. Practice makes perfect. Try reading that for the first time, and then try saying it. Very different way, practice makes perfect. So yeah, it just helps us to get accustomed to properly using our vocal equipment. Let's keep it simple, we'll call it that. So yeah, and I do hope that this has been helpful in some way, shape, or form to you guys. Now, today's main topic was obviously speaking, but and using inner voice, of course, speaking internally and speaking externally. But, variety is also important. If we focus so much on speaking, another aspect might sort of slacken off a bit. So, a little bit of this, a little bit of grammar, a little bit of listening practice, a little bit of reading practice, and consistently, you will notice differences. You will notice improvements. But remember, language learning is like a roller coaster. And as you progress through the language learning experience, the ups get shorter and the downs get longer. Now, you might be thinking, what are you talking about? Well, quite a common experience is the language plateau, the period where you go up, 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 down, up, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, but you're consistently improving. And then you suddenly, and then a bit more, and then the language learning plateau. Very common for pretty much everyone, I would say. And, there's no one-size-fits-all answer here, but with consistency and using methods such as inner voice, inner monologue, reading out loud, you can help to yourself to escape the plateau and continue climbing the mountain. So yeah, I hope this has been helpful for you guys. But like I said, today a little shorter one. And feel free to watch anytime, as many times as you can. And yes, just a quick reminder, feel free to take a look at my website where you can find access to the Preply platform where you will find my lessons. If and that is currently the only place I am teaching. However, if you do have any requests or enquiries, of course, feel free to, send me an email. You will find my email at the bottom of the website. There is a Dec English logo, and that is a link straight to email. Of course, on the website as well, you will find various links to the podcast services and a bit of info about me. And also, last but not least, the coffee page. Feel free just to leave a comment if that's all you would like to do. But if you can, absolutely feel free to send a coffee, 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. Always appreciated, and those coffees help to keep Dec English going, they provide the caffeine, quite literally. So always appreciated. And on top of that, I hope you all have a great day or doing whatever you're doing. So yeah, I look forward to hearing your comments, reading your reviews, and see you next time. Bye for now.